Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. AITA for not letting my ex move in, which could cost her custody. Account that is different from the main one. It is also common to employ fictitious names. As a result, I married Kristen when I was 22 years old as a male. I was 35 years old. We welcomed our son Skylar a little over a year after we were married, 11 male. I had the impression that everything was going really well. During the day, Christian was at home with Skylar while I was at work. Things were tight, but I was able to buy us a home and provide us with a fair level of life despite the circumstances. I was just getting started in information technology, so the money was coming in. All I had to do was sit back and wait. So I come home one day to find that half of my things, as well as Skylar and Christian, have vanished. Make a mental note to yourself on the counter. Christian revealed her displeasure with our way of life in a recent conversation. That she wanted to be anything other than mediocre, and to have a pleasant life was evident in her words. She'd been seeing someone else and was ready to move in with him when she discovered her mistake. In addition, I needed to retain the services of an attorney. During our difficult divorce, we are given joint custody of our children. As a result, I remarried Alana, who is now my current wife, a few years later. She's fantastic, and she's one of the most encouraging people I've ever encountered. We are the parents of a single kid. I started my own information technology consulting company around 5 years ago, and it has developed fast. Making a nice life for myself, my wife, Skylar, and Gwen is my top priority. My ex-husband has been in a number of relationships and is not remarried. We don't talk about anything else than Skylar. Christian got in touch with me approximately a week ago. A short-term lodging option was what she was seeking for. She found it. She was being evicted by her boyfriend, and she had nowhere else to turn. In order to provide herself and Skylar with a safe haven, she would have to sell her house. The woman asked to remain in our guest house until she could find a more permanent place to call her own. On the whole, I answered no. The fact that she did not deserve my pity after leaving me a decade earlier. That she has a responsibility as a mother to clean her poop and provide for her child. And if she couldn't afford a safe place to live, she wouldn't be able to afford one if she couldn't afford a secure one. After that, I wanted to look through the custody agreement one more time. Why? Because I do not want Skylar to be forced to live in an unsafe environment or with a dangerous individual. I told her, though, that I would check with my wife and get back to her as soon as possible. However, my wife despises Christian, and she does not want Skylar to hold it against us in the event that anything happens to his mother. She, on the other hand, does not want my ex-husband to reside here, and she would want to renegotiate the custody agreement. Skylar's balance will be improved as a result of this. As a result, we decided that now was the best moment to pursue sole custody. My mother has asked me to consider the message this sends to our child as a result of this. When I mentioned the letter on my counter from 10 years ago, my father told me to take into consideration what is best for my child in the long run. AITA? Edit, because some people have asked. Yes, Skylar loves his mom. She isn't a bad mom to him. We haven't asked his opinion because we are sure he would want her to move in. We don't want a temporary agreement, cause that would lead to more instability for Skylar. This would be a final decision. Story 2. AITA for not going back to my home country for my sister's wedding. I, 28, arrived to Canada 7 years ago, married when I was 21, and my spouse was already residing there when we married. My grandparents arranged for it. It seemed awkward at first, but I really liked him. Remarriage is not forbidden in my faith. There is a component of it if I state in English that husband and wife are those whose spirits are shared rather than those who sit together. I feel as though my husband's soul and mine are intertwined, and I have no desire to ever be with another guy. My grandparents are oblivious to this. They want me to bring my children back to my native country so that they may remarry me and provide my children a father figure. Even if I wanted to, there are just too many unknowns in that situation for me to cope with. They've stopped asking me, but I know what they want. My sister, 24, is getting married in June, and she really wants me to be there. I'd be lying if I claimed I didn't want to go. I know from the way my grandparents were talking that if I go, they'll attempt to get me married as well. It's not a case where I'd wind up being married, but I don't want to put up with the harassment and expose my children to the concept that they may receive a father because their father loved them. When I informed my sister that I wouldn't be able to attend, she was furious. She accused me of being selfish for refusing to come after not seeing her for so long. I mentioned how rude our grandparents are, but she insisted I should put up with it for a month for her sake. Maybe she's correct, and I'm just being a jerk since we were so close before I left. My spouse, as well as my parents, have died. Update. After reading everyone's comments, I became concerned that my grandparents were intending to force me to marry. So I contacted my brother and informed him about my concerns. He contacted my sister and confessed to me that he duped her into divulging our grandparents' plots. Apparently, they intended to marry me either at the same time as after my sister. I'm not sure how they thought they'd get away with it, since the temple would never allow it, but that was their idea. So my brother advised me that I could either make it known that I was not going and end things openly, or I could do it privately. I feel deceived by my sister, and I know my brother is upset with her, but my people's tradition teaches us not to pursue vengeance, which would jeopardize my sister's wedding and her reputation. So my brother got tickets for me and my children, and the goal is to cancel and have my doctor give me a medical excuse not to travel. My doctor is from our neighborhood, and she will understand. I had to calm my brother down so he could still enjoy her wedding since his presence was more essential. It's unfortunate that I can't return to my native country and that I can't take my children there, but Canada is a wonderful place. Nobody here presses me to remarry, and every guy and woman at work respects me and my circumstances. My spouse is no longer living, but I believe our spirits will be together forever. I'm sorry that my first home no longer believes, but I'll never give up. Story 3. AITA for turning my work phone off on vacation. I don't think I need to ask this, but I'm a little concerned about how things will go on Tuesday. I just transferred to another team inside the organization where I've been working for the last 2.5 years. Before I was promoted, I had planned to spend this final week seeing my sister and first niece, which was a significant thing to me. I'm in Canada as well, and this Monday is already a holiday since it's Family Day. The new staff was also notified, although I could see my new boss was irritated by it. He even offered if I could reschedule, but I declined. I had to wait a month to see my niece since my sister is wary of guests, and I wanted to go assist her and her husband connect. My final day of work was on Monday, and I'm scheduled to return on Tuesday. When I arrived to the airport on Monday, I switched off my work phone. This week has been great, but also quite hectic, with my sister and tiny niece. Because of all the catching up, baby time, and resting, I haven't had much interest in checking my own phone. On Wednesday, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize, but I didn't think much of it. We're enjoying a relaxing day today, so I decided to check my work phone to see if I had any emails to start preparing for next week. I had 20 voicemails and hundreds of texts and emails. More than half of them were from my boss, requesting that I come in for meetings and explain why I wasn't approachable. When I checked my voicemail, he said he hoped there was a darn good story for why I was off the grid if I wanted to maintain my work. He even began the message with, "I'm very sorry you're in the hospital, because that's the only reason I should have to track you down like this." In Slack, I received a few direct messages from employees I trust, requesting that I respond as soon as possible, since my absence was affecting them due to our boss's rage. I'm scared out since this is my first time not being in an entry-level role. Is it still the case that vacations are worked on? Did I make a mistake by turning off my work phone? Because tomorrow is a holiday for the whole company, I may not be able to correct things until Tuesday. Will I be fired? When I was in the previous area, days off meant days off, so I'm simply afraid I'll miss something and seem like a jerk to my supervisor and team. Edit. Oh my God. Hello, everyone. I didn't anticipate so many responses, but thank you very much, and thank you for your suggestions. I'm turning off my phone tomorrow so I can enjoy my final day with my family without feeling rushed, but I'll go over all of these comments on my way home and pledge to post on Tuesday or Wednesday.